the very decision we think we can't do because we can't accomplish a thing with this kid. It's like a monkey on my back. I can't be married. I can't have a kid and do this thing. So often in reality, it's the thing that really spurs us on, right? And maybe it's just the antenatal messaging that's out there, or it's we don't have models or examples of this. But I think just a little inspection, we start to realize, like, actually, it makes a lot of sense, because when I had my first baby, I was still early in grad school. And I remember thinking to myself very concretely, like, actually, my kid's probably going to be a little bit like me. He might kind of like math. He might like science. Wouldn't it be fun to be able to share with him these things that I'm learning when he's a grown-up? He did end up majoring in economics, which is interesting. He's not an economist, but he's interested in it. And so, like, kind of the point there is, like, we manufacture things that hold us back. And yet having a kid is a really sort of normal, basic human thing to do. And in reality, like, you can get a lot done carrying your fellow soldier on your back. And I put it that way on purpose because, like, that's what we're talking about, right? We're talking about, like, do you feel more motivated to do the important things in life or less motivated when you have, like, a wounded comrade on your back? Like, you're in battle, you're like, oh, get on my back. Like, the honest truth is, when you have to carry someone you care about, you are more motivated. You are going to get to the top of the hill. You're going to get out of the danger zone, whatever that is. And we have not had a language for talking about childbearing that actually describes the reality of what this looks like, which is that it's not like having, I don't know, like a tumor, or like having, somebody just sends you an extra bill every month. But this is the way people talk about it, right? It's like, you have all these bills already, and now you're going to have an extra bill. This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about having someone that loves you more than anybody's ever loved you, and someone that you love more than you've ever loved anybody. And it colors everything. It gives everything difficult more motive. Like, you're like, oh, do I really want to go to work today? 100%. I hate my boss. I hate my job. I hate what I'm doing right now. But I'm going to bring home this paycheck for this kid. I've been in that place. Everybody I know has been in that place. It keeps you from quitting the job. It motivates you to find a better job. It motivates you to clean up the mud in the backyard. Like, whatever it is in your life, you think about, is it going to be harder to do this or easier to do this, with the motivating experience of having someone you care so much about who's going to benefit from your effort? And the answer is 100%. Like, I don't know. So I've gone on too long on this point, but I don't know where we got into this, like, stumbled into this place where we just think of a kid as like this impersonal bill, or like a tumor or barnacle or something. It's not like that at all.
One of my favorite quotes from your book, you say, quote, "They told us in so many words how their children had saved their lives, saved their marriages, and saved their souls. By their own accounts, they had been saved from immaturity, loneliness, selfishness, and uselessness." End of your quote. And it kind of, like we talked about, like, I think when people get to the end of their life, they're not like, man, the best time of my life was making partner at this law firm. It's probably not even kids at that point. It's probably grandkids or great grandkids at that point. It's, daughter's wedding or son's wedding, whatever. That was, like, just one of the major themes of your book, was like this false bill of goods. Like, don't have kids. They're slowing you down.
Yep.
Go get that extra degree and get a better job. So you're making this extra money, and then what are you spending the money on? Oh, I'm just going to have, I'll buy a jet ski, or,
right.
I've heard people are like, oh, I've never seen a sad person on a jet ski. Yeah. For 15 minutes.
For 15 minutes.
Right. Like, that's true for 15 minutes,
Yeah. And it's a happier person on a jet ski is the person on the jet ski who's got, like, their son on the jet ski behind him, or next, I'm not actually sure you could jet ski together, but I think you can. I think you can side by side. But I mean, this is a really important point you're making, which is that, again, I've started to lean into this point recently a lot, which is that most people are making a decision about when to stop having kids when they've got, like, a baby, right? So they've got, like, a 1-year-old or maybe a 2-year-old, and they're like, should we have another? We're not sure. Maybe they go in, they have a second, and they can't really picture how great it would be to be jet skiing with their kids. But then what happens is they've got, like, a 13-year-old and a 12-year-old, and they're taking them downhill skiing, jet ski, like, whatever it might be that you love. And you're like, this is freaking amazing. Like, it is freaking amazing to have your kids and share the joy that you've had the opportunity to experience with these things that you love, whatever they might be. And at that point, when you've got like a 12 and a 13-year-old, you're like, and what if there was an 11-year-old? Like, would it be that bad? No, it would be like amazing. It'd be like a bigger party, right? And so there's this like unfortunate thing where, so yeah, to your point, I think we've been sold a bill of goods. I don't really have my finger on exactly where all that comes from. There's probably a lot of forces there. This general thought that like, yeah, the kids are just this like drag, like a tumor or, something else. It's just, but part of it is you just don't know what you don't know. And I think that's why it's incumbent upon those of us willing to sort of talk more about it. Like something I've said on Twitter X that I didn't say in the book, but my 24-year-old son is a really avid fisherman, and he's like incredibly good at it. Like it spends a lot of time at it. I didn't grow up around guys that fished at all. And when my friend's son first wanted to fish, I was like, oh, he's gonna like hurt himself. It's like the standard, like the standard modern mom. I'm like, that's dangerous. You shouldn't do that, right? And of course, I was completely wrong. And he persisted anyway, and we became regular members of Bass Pro. And I started to learn about all this stuff. It's totally wild and wonderful to have a son who like randomly sends me pictures of bass he's pulled out of lakes. Like it's wild, but like you literally just can't imagine that. So you're sitting there, you've got a couple of babies, all they are is a drag.